Perfect. Good evening. We are here for the Tuesday, November 1st, City of Rollingwood Utility Commission. We will begin with a roll call.
Chris Kirksey.
Clark Wilson.
Jonathan Miller.
Christopher Meekin. Walter Rollison.
Elizabeth Bray.
Well done. Moving on to public comments. I didn't see anyone signed up, but I will open it up to the floor for any public comments. And do we know if there's anyone signed in online?
No one signed in.
Okay.
And there's nobody online.
Okay, well, that clarifies that. Moving on to the consent agenda. This is discussion and possible action on the minutes from the September 6th, 2022 Utility Commission meeting. Those were uploaded to the site and available for everyone to review. We have a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All abstaining? Perfect. Moving on to the regular agenda. The first item is to welcome Walt Rollison to the Utility Commission as a member. So welcome.
Yeah, good to meet everyone. Thank you.
Now, I'm actually going to say, you want to stand up and introduce yourself or anything like that, but you're welcome to provide any information.
Any context?
Yeah, any context.
So a resident of a couple years, moved in on Vale Street, live on Wallace. Currently, we're building on Vale Street, and was looking for ways to volunteer. This seemed like one of the most appropriate ways for me, given my business background. The business I run currently has an energy broker license here in Texas. We work with energy utilities on a regular basis. I know that's only a fraction of what the scope is here,
Yep.
but it seemed like something where at least I was somewhat useful, and so was eager to volunteer and try to help. Yeah,
Awesome.
So excited to be here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you volunteering. Appreciate your time. Moving on to the next item, which is introduction of our new utility billing manager, Veronica Hernandez.
I'll give her
You have some comments?
She's great. Veronica's been with us for almost a month now, maybe 3 weeks now. I'm sure it feels like 3 years probably at this point. Veronica comes to us from the city of Universal City. She has over 10 years experience in utility billing and has used the same system that we use, so she's already making great strides in getting our system under control. Also don't want to forget to mention to thank Michaela. Michaela took over that role for the last 6 months completely unannounced and other duties as assigned, and she rocked it, and we totally appreciate her help. And now they're kind of working together to get our system working. So just want to welcome Veronica, and we're glad she's here, and come by and say hi to her if y'all are at City Hall. So
Thank you. Looking forward to meeting you all.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Well, a thank you to Michaela and a welcome to Veronica. So thank you both.
I have
Over here.
Since we're on utilities billing, can I ask a question?
You may.
I know that we have the ability through direct draw. We talked about having credit card billing for utilities billing? Is that?
Elizabeth, a little bit.
Sorry. We had talked at previous meetings as we came online with our new billing system about potentially adding credit card billing.
we do have credit card option. It's all online though, so we have an online credit card, but it is a 3% service fee. So we have a few people who use it, but not very many. But we don't do over the phone credit card or in person.
But it's okay.
But it is an option. Yes.
Appreciate it.
All right. Moving to the next item, which is discussion and possible action to schedule the regular utility commission meeting times for 5:30 p.m. That is a change from the prior time of 7 o'clock. So we're at 5:30 today, and this was put on the agenda to change that time. So I guess I'll open it for comments.
Yes.
Seems to work perfectly well.
Okay.
It's easier on the staff.
Do we need to actually motion and approve this, or do we just, is this like an official item?
I think a motion would be great if that's what y'all want to change it to, and we'll update the website and let everybody know.
Well, I'll make a motion to change the start time of the utility commission meeting to 5:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining? Motion passes. Moving on to regular agenda item number 6, which is discussion of intent to continue to serve on the Utility Commission.
All right, so we bring this item every year around October, November to just kind of determine who would like to continue serving. So we serve 2-year staggered terms. So this year we have 3 people up. Probably goes without saying, Walt, since you're brand new, though you are on the list.
Yes.
People don't always take over exactly after 2 years. Sometimes when you fill an empty spot, it just kind of falls weird the way your current term ends. So we do have 3 people, and it's Chris Kirksey and Walt, and then we also have Sam, so we'll reach out to him. But just wanted to confirm that everybody wished to continue serving, not just those necessarily whose terms are ending, but if we'll just pass that on to the city council, and at their December meeting they'll make a big blanket appointment of everyone who will be re-serving on boards and commissions in January. So just wanted to
Aye.
get a good verbal
Yes.
from everybody.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We're glad you're all staying on. Appreciate it. So, well, great. Well, we'll pass that on to them, and in January we'll let y'all know. Update.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you.
Sure.
And you may want to stay up here as well. So
probably the next time,
um, this is an item, moving on to item number 7. This is an item that we've discussed at many meetings. We've just kind of kept it on there as progress has been slow. But this is an update on the Verizon AT&T cellular service coverage in Rollingwood. And Walt, for your benefit, so this is an item that may not seem to naturally fall within utility, but has been something that we've discussed here for a long enough time that we haven't made a lot of progress on it. But folks here, seem that there's not a ton of cellular coverage, depending
Yeah,
whether
I
it's in your
understand.
house, outside your house. So it's something that we've discussed. Various members have taken charge of certain aspects of it, providing more detail. We've made some inquiries to AT&T. We've had some meetings, some calls. We've made some calls to Verizon, and not a whole lot of progress has been made, to be perfectly candid.
Sure.
But it's something we want to keep on the agenda and see if we can get to some sort of action potentially. As right now, we're waiting. There's a few other things coming down from City Council that we'll probably be focused on in the future. Certainly with the election, seeing what's happening with the propositions and the capital improvement projects. But for now, this is something that we've looked at a little bit. So I know Ashley helped reach out to Verizon. Wasn't exactly the response that I was hoping for.
Right, absolutely agreed. So we've worked with them in the past, and they've had some different ways that they were hoping to help us out. They were going to track some of our city cell phones throughout the city and see kind of where there were areas of better service, worse service. They never quite followed up on that, and recently when we reached back out to them, they've kind of changed their process, it turns out, in how they determine coverage in an area. We were told that there's nothing they're going to do in our area currently because they've already done a study on our area, and it is fair coverage. They said we have fair coverage, which I did question what actually fair was what that meant, because
Not
it
good.
appears
Yeah.
we have not quite fair in a lot of
Less than
areas. But they said they are aware that we have fair service outdoor and then poor service indoor. Indoor service is not something that they generally do anything about. There are kind of other indoor options that they recommended us pursuing. As a city, being the customer of Verizon, we're able to get some discounts and things on some indoor options. Residents aren't afforded that same, benefit. And so still working with them to see if there are some things, if we could at least maybe get some literature that we could be able to share with our residents and show different ways. They talked about Wi-Fi calling, network extenders, things like that. But I know a lot of people have already exhausted a lot of those resources, and we've let them know that. And so
Yep.
we're not going to give up. We're going to keep talking to them and see what else we can do. They do have something, and I think we've probably explored this in the past, but it's a real estate inquiry form, which I think is probably inquiring about getting some sort of cell equipment in your city and showing where you have the real estate. I'm still working with them to try to figure out what that would look like. Sure, we don't necessarily have the space for a huge tower, and I think we maybe have explored that in the past, but if there's some other, maybe some new technology that they might have, it might be something we could look at. But still working with them, hope to have some more information soon.
Thank you. Any comments? Yeah.
Would it be helpful if, we talked about possibly doing a survey? you know, if there was a large number of Verizon customers that reported issues and or reported them directly to Verizon.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know how else, I always wonder if it's simply our scale that has been an impediment to,
Yeah.
getting any sort of response. And, frankly, I was okay with solutions that we would have to pay for, so long as we could say, you will now have 95% cellular coverage that is above fair, and it's gonna cost the city X amount. Do we wanna do this? But it's been a challenge to even get an idea of what that even looks like, and it's obviously Verizon and to some extent also AT&T aren't really focused on helping us out until they can see a reason to. But that was why we went down that path of a private network. It just didn't have the right solution for us. So, obviously we've been receiving several mailings and communications from the city. I don't necessarily see why one on this subject wouldn't necessarily be responded to, but it's definitely worthwhile to understand what the makeup is and really who is being impacted by it.
Sure, and then as to kind of, if they, specifically reached out to Verizon, they've kind of made it clear that sure, they can do that, and we're happy to explore indoor options with anybody who reaches out. It was kind of, I couldn't tell if it was, we've already determined you have fair service, so we're not gonna do anything, or there's already something on the horizon, we just don't know what it is or when. So they kind of, it all seemed to be geared towards indoor, which isn't probably the,
Well, data's always
answer.
helpful, you know?
Yeah.
I
Sure.
mean, for us to identify where the areas are versus their map that they put out, because we
Which
can.
is, the map just says we have service.
Well,
Right.
well, there's light pink, medium pink, and dark pink,
Right.
or red for Verizon, pink for T-Mobile. So
T-Mobile.
it does show that we have quite a lot of variance, which is
Right.
probably why we get a fair instead of a good or a very good.
mm-hmm.
But it would help to have our own data of
Yeah.
people, and I'm sure that it is not very often that there is a collective feedback from residents direct to a provider.
Right.
But it also might positively help Solution Hunt, because they might say, you know what, you're really having a problem just here.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's not that hard to fix, or,
Sure.
Aside from including in, mail billing as a paper survey, what are some of our options? What are some of the tools that you guys have used? I mean, obviously we have the notification, I want to use like our emergency stuff.
Right, yeah, so we do have our emergency notification system, which is, not always 100% geared towards emergencies, but basically things we want to, get out to the whole city. So we have those options. Those are email and text options, so we could give people a link to reach out to. We could always send something out in the utility bills. I don't know if paper would be the easiest way to get those responses back, and then we'd probably have to, enter them in. But if it's not an extensive questionnaire, it probably wouldn't be a lot of work. So I think we have options. We have our social media and our website. So
It seems like a text option would get the most response of people who are more mobile phone focused.
we get actually pretty good responses when we send things out with a link via text. We usually get a higher number of clicks. So
I just think it might also be a responsible thing to do in terms of preparing ourselves for winter readiness. Should we lose landlines? Should we lose power? Should we, lose any of those things, to make sure that people have access to some form of communication, which may not be inside their house.
right, we don't really want anybody walking outside in the
Yeah.
ice to go use their cell phone. We don't have to.
So will it be linked to a site that is a survey? Is that, or is it a link, or is it one of those, texts V if you're a Verizon user, we get that back? Or how-
I think we have response options. We haven't really explored using those, but we could put a Google form together. Maybe if we wanted to get with one or two members, maybe wanted to do a small kind of subcommittee just to talk about the things. I think, and Phil, you might have to remind me, this went to council and they approved it, but I think they might need to approve the final questions.
Yeah,
I need to go
would-
back
I
and
would
look.
Look back with council to have us look at the final survey to see if there's anything.
So we'll work on a committee to put together the 3 questions or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and we'll get that sent up to
Sure, yeah.
council for review.
And it could be pretty simple, I would think. Who's your carrier? What's your address?
And does your phone work?
rate your service
Yeah.
between one and, I mean, sure,
Yeah.
maybe everybody might pick 0, but we might say like inside your home, outside your home.
Well, do
And-
you do Wi-Fi calling or not?
Mhm.
I know for myself, I do Wi-Fi at the house, and usually that helps immensely, stuff like that.
Might also be interesting to have a question that says, where else aside from your home do you regularly lose service
Right,
Mhm.
in the area?
Right.
right.
Agreed.
Inside road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So let's,
Well, I don't know, cause if it's in the surrounding area benefits from
True.
Mhm.
having service. Should we put something here, the
Right.
surrounding area benefits from that, so, you know, if you lose it every single time you go down Westlake Drive, for instance, or Beacage Road, that's important to know.
Could be an option too for some potential partnership with maybe Westlake Hills if they're having similar issues. We
Correct.
could maybe have a little bit bigger group behind
Yep.
our questions, so
Okay.
can reach out to them. But yeah, if y'all
They got big towers.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess the little different.
Well, they're not
but-
cell towers,
Yeah.
though.
they-
Those are not cell towers. None of
They
them
have
are.
big towers over there.
They do,
Right.
but they're not cell towers,
Mhm.
so that's what's kind of interesting.
So
Okay, I don't know if we need to do anything other than,
I just have another question. I'm remiss, we had some stuff happening and I'm behind on my connections with AT&T. Have you guys talked to anyone else other than Verizon?
we have not. No,
Okay.
they're our city hall main carrier, but I think we could probably get something started with AT&T.
we have,
Um,
we had a contact there, we had
Mhm.
that call where they.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I have current contacts there,
Okay.
so I'm happy to work on that.
Sure, and if you want to help share them back and forth, we can double team them. That might work too. So
Would you like to send out an email after this? Just, I'll volunteer to be on that, and anyone else who wants to.
sure, it can be up to 3.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to determine that here, we can just reach out to that group specifically, or if anybody wants to email back later.
I would like
The
to,
survey subcommittee?
yeah, I'd
Survey
like to be
subcommittee.
involved as
Yeah.
the liaison.
Yeah.
That
Perfect.
might-
Happy to help.
That's 2.
Yeah.
Was there someone else? And this, was that 3?
I mean, I'm
Okay.
calling AT&T anyway, so I'm happy to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Cool. Well, we'll follow up with an email and maybe we'll just schedule a quick Zoom call or a virtual or an in-person meeting and we can talk about some options and then get that onto council and
Sounds
we'll
good.
go from there.
Great. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
In advance of adjourning, one wanted to open up. Phil, did you have any other comments you
I
wanted
don't.
to make tonight?
Excellent job, one and all.
Okay, okay. And also just, are there any other folks that had any other comments that wanted to either bring up tonight or discuss about putting on the agenda for the next meeting? With that, I will adjourn the meeting.